Fans, we got another great athlete to talk. We got another great baseball player. Look, my bias comes out in baseball season. I like talking to baseball players because we're a baseball town. It's what we're best at. Carson Williams is another one of them. He is a Torrey Pines Falcon. It's good to talk to some Torrey Pines kids on the same day that we talk to some LCC kids. Very much balances out the vibes here on the show. Carson, thank you so much for joining us. You are joining us from what looks like a pretty solid setup you've got in the garage. I see some swords.
My dad had this made for me when I was younger. So we got a little ping pong table, TV set up. It's pretty cool.
So is ping pong, if you were not a baseball player, is ping pong the other true sport of your life? Because hand-eye coordination goes a long way in ping pong.
It's one that I've had to compete with my dad for sure. So
are you has the point where you're beating your dad happened yet? Because that happens in all father-son relationships. As you finally catch him, have you caught him yet in ping pong?
Yeah, I think we're there. I think we're there.
Fair enough.
He won't admit it. He won't admit it, but I think we're there.
Deal. I won't ask you to expose him then and call mom in right now to settle the actual truth score on the show. You're committed to play baseball at Cal. Congratulations. Anybody that's going Cal, Stanford, UCLA, any like those really hoity-toity schools, it's like, oh, that's awesome. Everything's working out pretty well. But what went into that decision for you? Why Cal? Why the Bears?
I went on my visits. I went all up and down the coast, and Cal really stood out to me with the coaches and the way they ran a practice, the program in general, and just the vibe that I got from the dugout and the teammates, the players, coaches. It was all really, really impressive.
Having been through it now, both in a pandemic and out of a pandemic, because like you said, you had visited beforehand. So this is something that obviously had been many years in the process for you. Now that you're done with it, any recommendations, advice you would give to younger student athletes out there, maybe someone who's a freshman just starting out the recruiting process?
It's right when you're starting the recruiting process, and it's all about hard work and work ethic, and that's all you're going to hear from coaches is work hard. And at the end of the day, stay relaxed. If anything, if you're gonna get looks from colleges or anything like that, you're just gonna want to stay relaxed and go play the sport that you love.
So everybody in high school plays a little bit of something. I'm sure you've done everything short of playing catcher. I don't know. Have you played all 9 positions yet in high school at some point or another? But what do you want to do specifically in college? I mean, are you going to gravitate towards being an infielder, a pitcher, an outfielder? What do you see yourself being in a couple of years for Cal?
For Cal, I will be an infielder.
Specifically, you want to be if you were trying to introduce your game, your playing style to the Cal fans, what do you say you bring to the table?
Right now, just a shortstop build, just tall, fast, quick twitch, and I'm gonna hit the ball hard when I need to, hopefully, and I'm just trying to be athletic out there.
So I want to ask you then, if you don't mind, just kind of talking bigger picture baseball. I am a child of the 90s. I grew up. I'm 30 years old. I grew up with like Griffey and A-Rod and a certain swagger and style to it that I felt maybe was lacking for the last couple of years in baseball. Now we've got Tatis and Acuna and like a whole young generation of players. So do you see that? And do you feel like baseball is getting fun again? Like I'm trying to figure out how kids your age kind of consume pro baseball right now, because I feel like it has to be more interesting and engaging now than it ever has been.
Definitely. I think baseball itself, I think a good word for it could be electric. Just with Tatis and Acuna, these up and coming superstars, it just makes the game so much more fun to watch. Me personally, I wasn't alive for back then with Ken Griffey and all those guys, but right now it's fun to watch.
Well, and I say where I was in terms of my generation, just to say that I feel like there was some of those signature players, and then maybe in like the early 2000s, things got kind of steroided out and a little bit bland, and there wasn't a lot of personality to the game the way that maybe I always liken it to before Odell Beckham Jr. You only had those 1 or 2 kids that were practicing the one-handed catches. Now everybody just grows up with like, oh, look, I can do all of this. I feel like that's kind of what's happening in baseball is that there are now starting to be cool young players that play with a certain amount of flair. I'm not going to ask you if you're going to go to the level of having the big sunglasses and dyeing out little streaks of your hair yet, but I love talking with younger players and hearing that it's actually connecting. in season for you with Torrey Pines, it has to feel really good after getting last year canceled with COVID and how good you guys have been doing this year. What's the experience been like for you?
It's awesome. I think that we're pretty blessed to get a season just in general, but just to play with all my buddies again, get back on the baseball field in a high school setting. There's nothing else like it. You're having fun with your
What you're back on campus now. What'd you miss about school? I feel like that's weird to say. Some people actually missed school, but what'd you miss about school?
just being on campus, seeing your friends every day. I think that was a big part of why people were so bummed. And there's not much that you can say about missing school because it happened. But when you think about it, not going to school, being in the classroom, seeing your teachers, it's a bummer.
Anything specific that you spent like all of the pandemic working on your game wise? That you feel, hey, I'm a significantly better hitter of the opposite direction or fielder or something like that actually paid off for all the downtime you had?
I think the downtime was just a big chunk of time that I took was just getting bigger, faster, and stronger for me. So just getting in the gym, getting in the weight room, and the sprints and everything. You gotta get into it.
Baseball players are athletes too. I've always said it. We're athletes too. And yet you're still probably what, 170 pounds or something like that.
I'm up at 185. And,
nice. Very nice. Hey, that's big and solid for a shortstop. That's most of the middle infielders are the gangly little ones. So I can appreciate that. I'm assuming I like to ask this to everyone. I think I already know the answer though. If you had one rival that you actually missed from your time away, LCC was the game that you missed most in terms of who you want another shot at this year.
I know all those boys over there, and it's always fun to beat those guys.
Don't you guys play them the last 3 games of the season? Isn't that how that's set? Oh my goodness. That feels like something that to come out of a pandemic, not just with, a season that's kind of compacted and weird, but also, hey, at the end, just back to back LCC. That has to be pretty ideal way to end the year.
It's right out of the storybook.
Right out of the story. As long as you guys win, it's out of the storybooks. Otherwise, it's out of a nightmare. I'm not going to put any of the mojo though in the air. I'm just going to say, folks, if you have the chance, go check out those games. We'll include all of their schedules, all the information where you can catch their next couple of games and the rest of the year in the links below this interview. Carson, thank you so much for joining us. I'm just going to close on this. You have a photo on your Instagram where you are, I believe it's you there sporting a cowboy hat. What is the science that goes into picking a good cowboy hat? How do you properly pull off that look?
There's a lot that goes into that. It's the type of material, it's everything. And if you really want a good cowboy hat, you got to know the brand. And Stetson cowboy hats are phenomenal, first of all. But my dad has a lot of cowboy friends, and they always help me out. So I'm probably not the best one to talk about it, but I definitely like a good cowboy hat.
Now, are we talking, is this Chris Paddock level? Like you wear it to games? Like, is this part of your style, or is this more of just a fun away when I'm away from the game? I'll rock an occasional cowboy hat.
There you go. Okay. I think we're going with the second option there.
Deal. Fair enough. Hey, look, if you had a magic cowboy hat that you were wearing pregame, I'd want to get a photo of it. I would want to share that with social media and everything. And I guess game day formal, you could potentially confuse everybody at Cal where they're like, wait, aren't you from San Diego? Why the cowboy hat? Like what? It'd be very weird. Yeah, we really... Deal. I really appreciate that. Maybe we'll get one just specifically for the LCC game that has some anti-LCC mojo on it. Carson, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Thank you for spending a little bit of time. Congratulations so much on Cal. Folks, this is just another one of the student athletes that I'm like screaming about. You got to go watch them now so you can say, hey, I saw them win. And why not go watch them against LCC? And we'll have playoffs too now. I just remember that it's like none of the season 1 stuff, all these season 2 sports gets playoffs. So you get to see him in the playoffs, maybe even winning a ring. Who knows? Carson, thank you so much again for being on with us. You have a great rest of your day and we'll talk to you soon.